Welcome to Digital Dimensions, a journey through the past, present, and future of technology. Here, we explore how the digital universe has transformed our world and how it will shape our destiny. Strap in, because this is not just a story, this is the story of us. It was a quiet evening in Edinburgh, 1945. The world was still reeling from the devastation of World War II. But in a small, unassuming laboratory at the University of Edinburgh, the future of humanity was being quietly rewritten. Professor Alistair MacLeod, a brilliant but unrecognized physicist, scribbled furiously on a chalkboard, his mind consumed with a vision few could even imagine. What if these machines could do more than just follow instructions? What if they could learn and think? He whispered to himself, his voice tinged with both awe and uncertainty. The war had given rise to massive calculating machines, like the Colossus, used to break enemy codes. But these machines were limited, mechanical, and lacked true versatility. MacLeod's vision was different. He dreamed of a machine that could do more than just follow instructions. It could think for itself. One evening, he presented his ideas to a group of skeptical scientists. "Imagine a world where machines assist us in ways we cannot yet comprehend," he said passionately. The room fell silent, the air heavy with disbelief. "Professor, this is pure fantasy," one scientist replied dismissively. "Machines cannot think, they are tools, nothing more." Dejected but determined, MacLeod left the room, the rain tapping against the windows as he walked home. The cold wind bit at his face, but his thoughts burned with intensity. His ideas were dismissed, but the seeds of the digital revolution had been planted. Little did the world know, those seeds would soon sprout into a technological revolution, and with it, a Pandora's box of possibilities. MacLeod spent the next decade tirelessly working in obscurity. By the early 1950s, he had developed a rudimentary prototype, a machine capable of basic pattern recognition. It wasn't much, but it was enough to catch the attention of a young engineer, Margaret Whittaker, who shared MacLeod's vision. Together, they worked day and night, their collaboration becoming a testament to the power of shared dreams. Margaret often joked, "We're not just building a machine, Alistair, we're building hope." The 1950s saw the rise of the first programmable computers. Machines like the ENIAC, massive and room-sized, were operated by teams of programmers, many of them women. These pioneers wrote the first lines of code, laying the foundation for modern software. Programming was no easy feat. Each instruction had to be meticulously punched into cards, fed into the machine, and debugged by hand. The process was tedious, often involving long nights and endless revisions. Yet, these early programmers persevered, driven by the belief that they were building the future, one line of code at a time. Their work was grueling, but it was also revolutionary. For the first time, machines could be instructed to perform complex tasks. The question was no longer if computers could change the world, it was how. In 1961, in New York City, Rachel Torres, a young and idealistic intern, stood in awe of the IBM 1401, one of the first commercial computers. The machine hummed softly, its presence both intimidating and exhilarating. This is incredible. It's like a giant brain," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. Her supervisor, Mr. Thompson, chuckled. "It's more than that, Rachel. This machine can process data faster than 100 human minds combined." "It's the future," he said, his voice tinged with pride. Rachel typed her first set of instructions into the machine, her hands trembling with excitement. The computer whirred to life, printing out results in moments. "If this is the future, I want to be part of it," she whispered to herself, a determined smile forming on her lips. But the journey wasn't easy. As a woman in a male-dominated field, Rachel faced skepticism and sexism at every turn. "Programming is a man's job, Rachel. Why don't you stick to something simpler?" a colleague once sneered. Rachel's response was sharp and unwavering. "Because the future doesn't belong to just men. It belongs to anyone who dares to dream." Rachel's determination paid off when she developed a groundbreaking algorithm that optimized data processing. Her innovation earned her a promotion, but more importantly, it shattered the glass ceiling for women in technology. She often told aspiring programmers, "The key to success isn't just intelligence, it's courage." By the mid-1960s, computers were no longer just tools for scientists and governments. Companies like IBM were bringing computing power to businesses, transforming industries and reshaping the economy. But as computers became more powerful, so did the risks. What happens when the tools we create fall into the wrong hands? In 1972, in Tokyo, Takashi Nakamura envisioned a world where everyone had access to a computer. His colleagues laughed, their skepticism palpable. "Computers are for governments and corporations, not individuals," they scoffed. But Takashi was undeterred. "Just wait. One day, every home will have one," he declared, his eyes burning with conviction. Takashi's vision would lead to the creation of the first personal computers, like the Apple II and the IBM PC. These machines were no longer confined to laboratories or corporate offices. They were in people's homes, on their desks, and in their hands. The personal computer revolution democratized technology, giving individuals the power to create, communicate, and innovate. But with great power comes great responsibility. What happens when the tools we create are used for harm? Takashi faced his own battles. His designs were frequently sabotaged by rivals, and funding was a constant struggle. Yet, he persevered, driven by the belief that technology should empower people, not just institutions. One night, while working late, his wife brought him tea and whispered, "You're not just building a machine, Takashi, you're building a legacy." In 1989, in Mumbai, Arav Patel sat in a small computer shop, mesmerized by a glowing screen. The room buzzed with the hum of machines, the air thick with anticipation. His mentor, Rajesh Gupta, entered with a triumphant grin. "Arav, I just received an email from across the globe. Instant communication, Arav. Can you imagine what this means?" Arav nodded slowly, his eyes fixed on the screen. "It means the world is getting smaller, but are we ready for what comes next?" He replied, his voice tinged with both excitement and caution. As the internet began to reach more parts of the world, Arav worked tirelessly to bridge the digital divide. But the challenges were immense. "Why do we need this internet? It's just a fad," a traditionalist once said dismissively. Arav's response was firm and prophetic. "It's not a fad, it's the future, and if we don't embrace it, we'll be left behind." But as the internet grew, so did its dangers. What happens when the network we rely on becomes a weapon? In 1997, in Russia, Anya Ivanova, a cybersecurity expert, monitored a computer screen, her face tense with concentration. Her colleague, Dmitry, burst into the room, his expression grim. "Anya, another cyber attack. This time it's on a government server." Anya sighed, her shoulders heavy with the weight of responsibility. "It's only going to get worse. The internet is growing too fast, and we're not prepared for the risks," she said, her voice tinged with frustration. As cyber attacks became more frequent, Anya worked tirelessly to protect her country's infrastructure, but she faced pressure to compromise her principles. "Anya, we need results. The ends justify the means," her superior argued. Anya's response was resolute. "No, they don't. If we sacrifice our values, we've already lost." Anya's expertise eventually led to the development of advanced cybersecurity protocols, earning her international recognition. Yet, she remained haunted by the question, are we building walls to protect ourselves, or prisons to confine us? As the new millennium dawned in 2000, Mateo da Silva stood on a balcony in Sao Paulo, watching fireworks light up the sky. The air was alive with celebration, yet Mateo's thoughts were elsewhere. His sister, Sophia, joined him, her eyes reflecting the colorful explosions. "It's a new century, Mateo. What do you think the future holds?" she asked softly. Mateo hesitated, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "Technology will connect us like never before, but at what cost? Will we lose ourselves in the process?" he wondered aloud, his voice tinged with both hope and apprehension. The digital universe was no longer a dream, it was a reality. But with it came questions that no one could answer. Could humanity control this powerful force, or would it control us? The internet had become a double-edged sword, a marvel of human ingenuity and a breeding ground for unprecedented challenges. By 2010, it had connected billions across the globe. Social media had turned individuals into influencers, memes became cultural phenomena, and entire revolutions were organized with hashtags. Yet, lurking in the shadows were trolls, misinformation, and cybercrimes that tested society's resilience. It was 2011 in Cairo, and the air was thick with tension. On a bustling street corner, Amal Zaki stood with her smartphone in hand, her fingers trembling as she typed out a tweet. "Freedom is not a luxury, it's a right. Hashtag change is coming." Her words spread like wildfire, igniting a digital uprising that spilled into the streets. Her best friend Hassan joked nervously, "Amal, I hope you know you just declared war on the status quo. Also, you still owe me for lunch yesterday." Amal smirked. "Don't worry, Hassan. If this works, lunch is on me forever." But the journey was perilous. Government forces shut down the internet, hoping to stifle the movement. Amal found herself navigating a maze of VPNs and encrypted messaging apps, guided by tech-savvy allies who turned digital tools into weapons of liberation. One night, as Amal huddled with her team in a dimly lit room, she paused to reflect. Technology is incredible. It's giving us a voice. But what happens when someone else uses it to silence us? She wondered aloud. The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Across the Atlantic, in Silicon Valley, David Kim was grappling with a different kind of challenge. It was 2014, and David had just launched a revolutionary AI-powered assistant named Athena. Designed to simplify daily life, Athena quickly became a household name. David's team celebrated their success with champagne and pizza. "We did it, David. Athena is a game changer," his colleague Priya exclaimed. David raised his glass but hesitated. "Game changer, yes. But what if the game we're changing isn't ready for us?" he mused. His concerns weren't unfounded. Within months, Athena's algorithms began displaying troubling patterns, biased recommendations, invasive data collection, and unintended consequences. David's inbox overflowed with emails from users, some praising Athena for saving their time, others accusing it of ruining their relationships. One particularly scathing email read, "Your AI just suggested I buy flowers for my ex on our breakup anniversary. Is this your idea of helpful?" David sighed and replied with a touch of humor. "Athena is still learning. Clearly, she doesn't have the best relationship advice yet." But beneath the jokes, David knew he had to act. He called an emergency meeting. "We created Athena to make life easier, not to complicate it. Let's fix this before it spirals out of control," he urged his team. By 2020, the world had embraced a new era of connectivity, driven by technologies like 5G, blockchain, and quantum computing. Yet, with progress came chaos. Deepfakes blurred the line between reality and fiction, while algorithms manipulated public opinion on an unprecedented scale. In London, journalist Priya Sharma was determined to uncover the truth behind a viral deepfake scandal. The video in question depicted a world leader making inflammatory remarks, sparking international outrage. Priya's instincts told her it was fake, but proving it was another matter. She worked tirelessly, analyzing the video frame by frame, consulting AI experts, and navigating a web of misinformation. Her editor, Mr. Blake, quipped, "Priya, you're like Sherlock Holmes, but with Wi-Fi and caffeine addiction." She shot back, "And a lot less patience for your jokes, Blake." Her investigation led her to a shadowy figure known only as Cypher, a rogue AI developer with a knack for chaos. Confronting Cypher was no easy feat, but Priya's determination paid off. Her expose not only debunked the video but also shed light on the growing dangers of synthetic media. "Technology isn't the villain," Priya wrote in her article. "It's a tool. And like any tool, its impact depends on who wields it and why." As the story unfolded into the late 2020s, humanity stood at a crossroads. The promise of technology was matched only by its perils. Innovations like neural interfaces and autonomous systems promised to blur the boundaries between humans and machines, raising profound ethical questions. In a sleek San Francisco lab, scientist Elena Ruiz tested a prototype neural implant designed to enhance human cognition. Her assistant, Tom, joked, "So, will this make me a genius, or just better at trivia night?" Elena laughed. "Let's start with trivia and work our way up," she replied. But the project wasn't without controversy. Critics warned of privacy concerns, potential misuse, and the risk of widening societal inequalities. Elena grappled with these dilemmas, questioning whether her work was a gift to humanity or a Pandora's box. One evening, as she stared at the implant on her desk, Elena made a decision. "We'll move forward, but not without safeguards. Progress is meaningless if it comes at the cost of our humanity," she said firmly. The journey through digital dimensions is far from over. With every breakthrough comes a challenge, with every question comes another. Yet, through it all, one truth remains. The story of technology is the story of us, and this story is just beginning.